Some stories ain't just written, they're survived. As on today's episode 25 of Sculpt N Create, I'm joined by Shawniece Hall, author of the powerful debut novel, Flames, a certified nursing assistant and a woman whose journey is rooted in resilience, discipline, and self-authorship. Shawniece didn't just decide to become an author one day. Her stories were shaped by real life, growing up in survival mode, facing instability, homelessness, and adult responsibilities far too early. But instead of letting that path define her limit, she used it as fuel. In this episode, we dive into how writing became her escape and eventually her purpose, the real story behind Flames and why readers say it feels cinematic, love, trauma, and how childhood experiences shape adult relationships, balancing creativity with real-world responsibilities in healthcare, and what it truly means to become the author of your own life. This conversation is not just about books. It's about identity, healing, discipline, and choosing not to repeat the statistic you were handed. So you ever feel like your past disqualified you, if you ever struggled to trust love, if you ever sat on your guilt because life got in the way, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Welcome to Sculpt N Create, where fitness fuels creativity and helping artists, entertainers, and creators towards their journey on their physical, personal, and career growth. I'm your host, Trea Da Fit Artist, and who I have with me today is Shawniece. She's the author of her book, Flames. Welcome to the show, Shawniece. Man, glad you can make it. So tell everybody before we really get started, tell everybody about your book, where to find you, where to get your book you, the whole nine. So pretty much just set your links out.
So if you want to get a copy of my book, Flames, you can get a copy from my personal website, which is www.shawniecewrites.com, and that's WRITEZ.com. You can also go to Amazon, but if you go to Amazon, the difference between Amazon and my website is I always give a free gift, and it's always going to be a little bit cheaper on my website than it is for Amazon. You can also, if you find me on Facebook under Shawniece Hall, there's always links in my bio, TikTok, Nisi 101. Instagram, Shawniece Writes. But there's always links there where you guys can just click the link and it will bring you straight to my website. Those are the only places I have for Flames right now. And if you want to get in contact with me, you can always reach me through either of those platforms.
Okay, cool. Y'all check my girl out. Now let's get into it, Shawniece. So let's talk about it. So you're an author, so tell a little bit more about, how that came to be, and then we'll get more into it about what the book is and so forth. So, but how did it become to be for you writing and so forth?
Writing is something I always wanted to do since I was a teenager. I love reading books, and I love the fact that whenever I read a book, it's like a movie playing in my mind. So it's not like I'm reading, it's like the words is coming off the page and I can see a whole movie. And I like the idea that I could be transported out of my surroundings, especially because I grew up dealing with being homeless and lots of other stuff. So that reading kind of allowed me an escape. I could live vicariously through characters and escape, my reality for a little while I opened the book. So I fell in love with the idea that people can create that and I can give that to somebody else. So.
Okay. So what would you write? And I definitely understand because I come from writing literary works and poems and so forth. And it came out of pain for me, or I was from my grandmama past and so forth. That's when it was born for me. So I like to hear about the origin story. How did that, as you said, you grew up, going through those trials and tribulations, growing up and everything. What would you say sparked the writing? In a sense, how was it born? How did you come into knowing that you can write and good at it and so on and so forth?
Honestly, what led me to know that I could do it was going back to me being a teenager when I was reading, and I would start to come up with stories myself, even at a young age. I would get halfway through it, a regular school notebook. I'd get halfway through, have a whole story in my mind. I don't know how to explain it. Whenever a story comes to me, it's like me watching a movie going fast forward in my mind. It's going forward from beginning to end. So I gotta get that story out. I call it the gist of the story. Get that out. And then once I get that out, I can expand on it, make chapters, develop my characters. So even when I was younger, I knew I could do it because I was doing it. I had notebooks when I was a teenager that they'd be halfway stories.
So pretty much like in a sense like a journal, but more descriptive in a sense, from a vision of you that you imagine or something like that in a particular scene or setting when you make your stories back then, is what you're saying?
What I'm saying is like I used to write them in my notebook as if
Mm,
like I was actually writing a book.
okay.
So as if it'd be like chapter 1, chapter 2, and
Okay.
then
I got you.
just writing that in my notebooks.
Okay.
And
I
I
got
and
you.
I wasn't smart enough back then. I never laid it out. I would
Okay.
just like, okay,
Okay.
this story's in my mind. Let me start writing it. And then halfway through the notebook, I'm like, I don't even know where XYZ is. And then I would just be like, you know what, forget about it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see. Like the method to the man is like
So
how
I
did.
can explain my
Mm,
method. I didn't mean to cut you off. I can
okay.
explain my method. When I was younger, like I said, I
Mm,
didn't know what I was doing, but I knew kind of what I wanted to do.
yeah.
Then when I got older, I was like, you know what? You know how when you're in school, they teach you like when you're about to write something, you brainstorm first, then you do the outline, then you do your
Hmm.
paragraphs, like your pre-paragraphs, then you
Right.
actually put it in the work. So it's like do the same thing with your book. So for me, like I said, when it comes to me and it's like a movie fast forwarded, I
Mm,
like write down, like that's like my brainstorm right there. Like I write down everything from, beginning to end as much
mm,
detail orientated as I can,
okay.
and then that's kind of like in 3 to 5 paragraphs, I got a beginning, middle, and end of a story going on here. It's not the whole entire story, but like you can literally take from that and draw a whole entire book. So it's kind
Okay.
of like that. I develop it like that. So then after I write my 3 to 5 paragraphs, then I'll
Mm,
move it over and I'll expand that into chapters, however many I choose. Usually I start off with 10. That's usually like my baseline right there. I'll be like 10. And if
mm,
it happens to expand over that as I'm writing, then it goes over. But I'll expand
okay.
it into 10 chapters. And
Okay.
then I'll slowly make my characters.
Okay. All right. So where does your inspiration or your muse come from when you make these writings? Like, is it something like you happen other than, okay, is it more like your experiences growing up or seeing something or is it something you heard or whatever the case? Like, what would you say has been your inner inspiration for your writings?
I would say what I say all the time, inspiration is everywhere. Like I feel like
Mm,
inspiration is everywhere. That's why I always have my phone with me for my notes section. Like if you look
yeah.
in my notes section, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
inspiration's everywhere you go. It's your personal life. So I draw from everything. I draw from my personal experiences. I
Hmm.
even draw from the experiences of others because we can live vicariously through others. Someone can
Hmm.
experience something and you don't have to experience it to know where that's going to end you because your cousin did that or your friend did that. So it's like you can draw from that. You could draw
Uh,
from the stuff you see on TV.
mm.
It's inspirations all around you.
So do you, we're going to get into flames, but do you like make things more like in a fictional sense or is it like, go ahead. You about to say something?
Because I'm going to say Flames is fiction.
Okay.
But for some reason, everybody who read it thinks that it's real, but it's
Okay.
fiction.
Okay. Okay. And so, yeah, but I was just trying to say like, is it from like real events and you just like, drum it up kind of like if you like, I don't know if you like Law and Order and everything, they take from real events and then spin in a certain way. So is it something like that with your fiction or I'm just basically what I'm looking to get into is like, what is your genre? I know this is your first book, like, or what are your plans and like, or is when you start doing your whole book line, like, what genres are you planning to go in? Is it going to stay in fiction or other genres as well?
I'm probably going to diversify into
Mm,
whatever I choose to write.
okay.
Yes, Flames is fiction and it's more like urban fiction, but it's
Okay.
fiction.
Yeah.
I got a second book coming out in 2026. That's poetry. So it's
Okay.
different than Flames, it's
Mm-hmm.
poetry and it's long form storytelling.
Hmm.
And then my next few books will be fiction. I even want to write something where people got powers. I love stuff like that,
Okay.
like
Okay.
X-Men and stuff like that.
So,
Like I
so,
like stuff like that. So if I could even write
okay.
something like that,
All right. So maybe like a comic book or something like that.
not even a comic book, like serious type.
Okay.
Like not a comic book, but like an actual, thick book.
Okay. Okay.
We got origins and everything.
Yeah, I feel it's like the Matrix. I know I forgot the woman who actually created Matrix, but something like that. But in
Yeah,
the superhero style.
something like that.
Okay, okay, I like that. Now, so have you been like what started you like from making going up to making books? You've been starting from a young age, but like when did it come clicking you to like to actually write a book? And what was you doing before that?
So I'm a CNA, still
Okay.
am. That's what I was doing before that. That's what I'm still doing now.
Hmm. Okay.
But what really pushed me to be like I was sleeping on myself, because that's what I was doing. Even though I didn't write a book until 2023, I was still always writing. So I
Mm,
still always had my notebooks and everything with my stories and everything. I just never basically took myself serious enough or put a method together enough for me to actually finish the process.
mm,
And then a woman where I live at, another Black woman, I seen her do it. And I'm like,
mm.
okay, well, girl, if she could do it, what are you doing? You over here with composition notebooks.
Right.
So that pushed me to be like, once I got the story together, I
Mm,
literally like full throttled on that. Like I didn't have writer's block, none of that. I was like
mm.
in the zone with it.
You mentioned that you said you weren't really like serious into writing a book. You know, you good at it, and you like doing it. Comes from inspiration, it just flows out. But you wasn't serious with it. So what was the hesitant with actually making a book and so forth?
I think just life
Mm,
getting in the way. Like, I'm a mom of two children.
okay.
When I graduated from high school, even then when I was young, I didn't really like, even though that was your dream or your little dream when you're young or your passion,
Yeah,
like sometimes we got to walk through different paths before we get to where we're supposed to get to.
I
So I
understand.
feel like nothing stopped me. It was just like there was other things I was doing and I really didn't look at
Mm,
that as something as like I said, taking it serious enough for me to be like, yo, you can do
mm.
that.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. Sometimes you had to like take a step back to go forward in a sense, you know. And with that said, like once you got into it, like what was that process like? Cause I hear about the book writing process or and getting the book done is a grueling process. So with you being a nurse, that's another grueling job. Explain no parallel, like how was you able to get that going with working as a nurse and getting the book done as well.
Think what matters most is having structure and discipline on when you're going to do it.
Okay.
So for example, like if you say how I did it was I wanted to finish one chapter a week. So
Okay.
if I'm going to have 10 chapters, I wanted to finish one chapter a week. Or I think I
Okay.
might have done one chapter for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it would take me 2 weeks to finish one chapter. And I
Mhm.
didn't want to rush myself. I didn't want myself to feel rushed. I didn't want the story to feel rushed. I wanted it to flow organically. So I did give myself 2 weeks per chapter. So
Okay.
that's what I did. I stuck to that. I literally would get a chapter done in that 2 week block frame. So
Okay.
if you've got 2 weeks, you've got time. And what I
Okay.
would do is, to be honest, what helped is that I worked a lot of overnights
Okay.
as a CNA. So on the overnights, when you got your
Mm,
downtime, I would always have my laptop with me. Like I
mm.
felt like I was getting paid to write, but
Right.
even though I was at work,
Right. Right.
like, and it kept me up throughout the
Uh,
shift, gave me something to do besides whatever work I was doing on the shift.
okay. Okay. That's
So
cool.
just,
Go ahead. My bad. I ain't mean to cut you off.
I just want to like to wrap that all up to be like, just make sure that you create a schedule for yourself. That is like, I think the one thing that really helped me get through this was
Mm,
having a schedule and knowing how the game plan was going to go. I feel like you should lay this out as much as you possibly can because it will really help you stay on top of everything.
okay. All right. Cool. Because I think that's important. Like people think when they start something or have a dream for something or a knack for something, they don't actually go through with it because they got other obligations and engagement that they gotta tend to the most or perceiving to tend to the most. And they like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to flex this. Is I got this going on. I'm too busy, right? So I think that's important for people to hear. You gotta make sure you structure your time around it, whatever you got going on.
Mhm.
Now, okay, so let's get into the book. Now, title of the book is Flame, and this is your first book, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So tell us about Flames. What is Flames about? From what I read, I think what's the name of that publication? I think it's a W word, wisdom, something like that. It was found read on one of your links, Instagram. It's a publication that you had with your stuff on there.
Was probably maybe an article.
Medium is the one it was.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that
okay.
publication. Yeah, Medium, and it was. I heard that it's read that it's a romance drama.
It's kinda. It
Uh,
definitely is about we're following Aaliyah, a main character. She grew up without her mother and her father, and she was left with her grandmother who basically tolerated her presence. So for her at a
mm,
young age, love kind of struck her the wrong way. So with that, she, the way we are as we what we go through as we grow up defines us as we age into adults. So for her, that was just something where she felt like it was unobtainable for her. So
okay.
going forward, she's doing all this on her own, making her way, and she works at this club called Flames. And at the club,
Mm,
she meets Liam, who is an entrepreneur. Now, Liam has a different life compared to her because he grew up with his parents in a household. You know, he grew up being loved. He's a go getter. He gets what he wants. And
mm,
he doesn't take no for an answer. So when
okay.
he meet him and Leah cross paths, starstruck, he wants her, and
Right.
she's like, "Nah, I don't even." And you got money. We know how y'all be. I'm all,
Right.
but he's that type of person. Like, nah, I'm gonna get her. So it's like just like any other story we watch, how it unfolds, how he gets her to put her guard down, what it's like when she does put her guard down. But then,
Mm,
life does that thing when you think, oh my God, I can rest, I can sit back, everything is going good. And life is like, but is it going good? And it throws a wrench in there.
yeah.
So when Liam's something in his past comes back, it
Mm,
starts to throw a wrench in what they got going on. And now she has to decide, like, is this love even worth fighting for? Is this why I still don't have love in my life because I always got to go through something? Will it all go up in flames? Will
mm,
she get her happy ending?
mm. Okay. And yeah, and I definitely like that. So I didn't know the name of the club was Flames, and so that lets you. From what I was hearing, I was thinking, okay, they have maybe found that spark, and then now the flames are flowing. So it felt like it was a double entendre of the play on the word flames and so forth. So
Hmm.
I see a lot of parallels right there between that name and the thing that they going through. All right, so what would you say now? What was the inspiration for this book? Was it an experience somebody you heard, a story they heard, a lived experience, or what's the case?
I feel like life is the inspiration because many of us, even though
Mm,
some of us grow up in good households and stuff like that, many of us grow up feeling not loved by either a parent or both parents, especially if like your parents were absent or one parent was absent. So I think many of us can relate to that and how that plays a role in how we love people, how we perceive relationships, how we step into relationships. So what I did was I'm not going to say it came from anything specific. I think it just came from life altogether, like different experiences of life and drawing from what a person like that might be like if they grew up feeling like they wasn't loved,
mm,
feeling like you wasn't even loved by your father. So that's already lacking that male love that you get because your father and your mother, they're the first people that show you love from a man and a woman. You know what I mean? So
mm,
if you're lacking that, that already sows a seed of how you might be in different relationships as you grow into an adult. So I
okay.
feel like number one, many people that when I got feedback connected with that, like, not feeling like you didn't get that love at a young age. So it makes it hard for you as an adult to,
Mm,
receive it or articulate it or give it back. And then in between the story, I just feel like it's really just real life stuff happening. Like what happens when you try and go after somebody? What happens when you're dating somebody? What happens when you're trying to get that girl to see
mm,
that you're serious about her and you want her in your life? And what happens when you're that girl and you're pushing back and you're like, no, and how it
right.
all unfolds. So it's really just real life.
Now, from you describing it and so forth, it sounds like a little bit of elements from not entirely now, but it sounds like there's elements from Romeo and Juliet in a sense, for as living different, both of them having different lifestyles and stuff like that. Would you agree to that, or would you say otherwise?
I didn't say Romeo and Juliet because I
Yeah,
didn't draw from that.
yeah. I'm just saying. I ain't saying that was your inspiration, but it sounds like elements in there. That's what I'm saying from that. That's
You know what? It could be like you know what it really is? I could kind of understand that because it could
mm,
be like a Romeo Juliet kind of thing. Because even though you see Liam as this prominent businessman, you know what I'm saying? He goes to the elite parties, he does all the things. And we know that in our eyes, most
mm,
men like that are perceived as like they gotta have more than one woman. They think they can have it all because they got the money, the means, but he's the opposite of that. Like he's
okay.
calm, he's laid back, he's that one woman man. You get what I'm saying? Like he don't care. Once he got his eyes on you, this is it. I don't care if I walk into the room with 10 other beautiful women, my eyes is on you.
Mm,
So in a way, kind of like that sweep you off your feet, especially because he had a household where he saw his mom and his dad doing it in a marriage.
yeah.
So in his mind, that's what it is. Exactly what he
Mm,
saw growing up is what he wants to model. If I
yeah.
got you on my arm and I want you, I don't care that I'm rich. I don't care that girls
Mm,
throw their self at me. I just want you. So
okay.
he is different in that sense, and that kind of man that most women would look for when they want to feel secure in a relationship and know that like his eyes are only on me no matter what room we walk into, no matter if she's better than me or not.
And okay, got you. Okay. And now what I was like thinking, because like from the story of Romeo and Juliet, it was like more like I think one was rich and then the other side was poor. And that's what I'm saying. Like, kind of
Oh,
not,
okay.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They weren't really supposed to be together in that sense, but they try to find ways to be together and everything like that. So that's what I was talking about. So it kind of sounded like they both on different sides of the track, but they still found love some kind of way. So that was the parallel I was saying that I could see from what I know of. I didn't read the full story of Romeo and Juliet, but from my understanding of it, that's what I'm talking about. But now, or is the relationships parts of it? So, like you said, you start off with the guy trying to get the girl. She playing hard to get, and he actually got the girl. Now he got the girl. She going now it's tribulations stuff coming from his past to test the relationship. So it's all different type of elements from the start, middle. Do it have like I don't want to ruin the book, but do it have like an ending of what the relationship is gonna be, or is it more like a continuum?
It's kind of both. It's kind of both because I in some books I like the idea that you don't know whether it's opened or closed.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
So I feel like with this one, you get there and you're like,
Okay.
okay, but is there another page? Like, is
Okay.
there more? This can't be the last page.
So, okay, so like a cliffhanger, definitely leaving the
Because
cliffhanger.
that's the feedback I got from many people. Like, I got to the end and was like, come on, this can't be the last page,
Right.
please.
Okay. All right, so cool. So you leave a little cliffhanger, so maybe open for interpretation. Like, is it the end or is it not the end? In a sense.
Right. And this one, I feel like I did do that with Flames.
Okay. All right. Cool. Now, with the relationship side of things, I think most of us, when we get into a relationship, we think it's supposed to be all sunshine and rainbows and so forth, and nothing supposed to be testing the relationship, no hardship. But when things do happen, we kind of tend to want to run away from those, heartaches and pains and the stuff that scares us when it comes to relationship. Do this book address that a lot, or what would you say?
I think in this book, because for the most part, even though there are different characters and we hear from some of the different characters and see through the lens of some of the different characters, the main character is Aaliyah. So we are mainly seeing through her lens. So in that aspect, I feel like we see her vulnerability.
Okay.
We see how scared she is to enter into this relationship. We see how scared she is for it to fall apart and her to be left alone, or love to do her how it's always done her, leaving her alone by herself, feeling like she's not worth the love. So I think like we see those elements with her. And then we see how Liam reassures her that it's not going to be like that. And it's not always through his words, it's the stuff that he does.
And what do you think when people read Flames? What messages can they get from the book, and what can they, in a sense, learn from the book as well?
I think one of the things, because there's many things that this book touches on. It is about a relationship, but it's about relationship, friendship, business. It's about backdoor deals, people trying to steal from you. It's different life elements. But I think one of the messages you can get from this book is being open to love. Sometimes the doors that you think aren't for you, sometimes you got to give yourself a chance and go through them doors. Sometimes you got to give someone the opportunity to prove to you before you just write them off. I think another takeaway from the book is strong relationships. Like when you see Mia, which is another main character, she's like Aaliyah's best friend.
Okay.
You would think these two girls are sisters, but they're not. So another thing is like strong friendships, how having a good friend matters, especially in the moments where you feel like you're by yourself.
That were interesting, the last thing you said. So do you think when it comes to people in relationships, friends, family, on both sides, do you think that they should leave their friends and family opinions out and just really form their bond between the two relationships? Or what do you say with that parallel there?
I think that you should take lightly into consideration what people say, because there is that thing where, when they say I'm on the outside looking in, so what you might be blind to, I might not be blind to. So sometimes people are telling you something for the betterment of you, but ultimately you are in that relationship with your partner. So ultimately you have to do what is best for you and your partner, no matter what outside forces think.
Right. So yeah, I mean, yeah, cause you got a lot of them, especially ones that's single and all that stuff like that. Like they, man, I'll leave,
Right.
I'll leave him, girl, or you know, man, I don't think that's the one, or something like that. However, you know, you listening to them and not really listen to your own thoughts and you know, looking, you know, taking a step back and then just looking at, you know, what type of person you got on either side, and but just listen to the outside forces, and I believe that can really like taint your judgment and how you move, and it's not really even your own thoughts, it's everybody else's
Right.
thoughts of how you should move. So I think that's important to address that. But yeah, having good friends still, and family, people who got your best interests at heart, I believe too, just having those folks around you and knowing, you know, knowing who you got around you and everything, and then listen to the advice that you can listen to, and then whatever you can't, you know, throw it away or put it on the shelf for later on, and so forth. So yeah, so definitely. So how long did it take to write Flame?
I want to say Flames took me anywhere from 6 to 8 months.
That's man, wow, that's good. Wow. All right. So like, what went into the process of making Flames? Like, what was the from the start of conceptualizing it to the writing process to getting it out into people's hands?
First was me just writing it,
Mm,
and obviously, like I explained earlier, the process I used to write it, it started off with me just, having the motion, the
okay.
movie play in my head, and I, jot it down, lay it out, do all that. And then while I was writing it, found so the same woman who inspired me to write, well, not to write, but to get out there and finally,
Yeah.
write a book and put it out there. The person that she was working with, I reached out to him.
Mm.
I didn't even know if I should at first. I was so apprehensive, but I just took the leap. I
Right.
reached out. I was like, hey, XYZ, want to work with me. And
Yeah.
then I basically grabbed a publisher because that's what he does. He publishes
Mhm.
the books. But even though he publishes, he helps with formatting the manuscript, getting the cover done, getting your ISBN number, getting your copyrights. Like you have to go through all those different steps
Yeah.
before you can actually like put the book together. And then
Mm.
you got to figure out how you're going to publish it. Most people today are using Amazon KDP because
Mhm.
it's very simple to use. There are
Okay.
other publishing platforms like Lulu Bait. I can't even think of the full name right now, but there are different publishing platforms, but most people are going to go with Amazon KDP.
KDP. Okay.
So from beginning to end process would be you writing the story, however that process works for you.
Mhm.
And then basically getting the team that you're going to need together, which would be your publisher. And if your publisher can also help you get an editor, get you someone to design your book cover. And
Mhm.
then the publisher should be able to help you get your ISBN number and your copyrights because you don't want nobody stealing your work. You don't want nobody being able to
Mhm.
republish your work. So you want those copyrights. And then you've got everything. Once you've got that manuscript fully edited and you're happy with it, once you got that book cover done, you're happy with it, you are literally, and you got your ISBN, you are ready to put it together and put it into a book so it can be printed. And again, you can use services like Amazon KDP or other printing services who will like help you print out your book for distribution. And please be advised that they are always going to want their percentage because Uncle Sam always wants a cut of your hard work.
Okay. And what about like, do you have somebody that proofwrites or proofreads or whatever in that sense
So
too?
that would be like your editor. Your
Okay.
editor would be the one who reads through your manuscript and like for errors, and not only just for errors, but they're also reading it as well. So for
Mhm.
example, my publisher, before we even started editing the book, he actually read it.
Mhm.
Like he read it and gave me feedback on it. And
Mhm.
then my editor, while she was editing the book, she was also reading it. So
Mhm.
she also gave me feedback when she was done editing it as well.
Now, with that, with you getting that feedback, now us as artists, we kind of sensitive about our stuff, you know, and we like, we, and in like negative criticism, we kind of like take that as offense instead of it being constructive criticism. So when you was hearing that feedback, how receptive was you to it? Like, did it agitate you or annoy you, or did it make you better?
I'm not one to be mad about any feedback on my book. Like I always
Mm-hmm.
encourage honest feedback because I tell people honest feedback helps me do it better. If you
Mm-hmm.
lie to me, I won't do it better the next time. I'm gonna think I'm doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is you didn't like or whatever you felt I could have done better or whatever you thought would have made the writing or the book better, let me know. Please tell me. So
Okay.
I'm very receptive to feedback, even if it's like not criticizing, but like the negative feedback, because
Mm.
negative feedback is just as good as positive feedback when it comes to this process.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's one way to grow. Like some folks don't can't take it, and they just stay stuck in whatever they are doing. And you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Some you do hear where some take they do what they want to do, and then they even be bigger than what the people was criticizing their stuff for. So it just really like I
Right.
guess so. But I guess just having that tight knit crew, that people you trust, and you want to hear their advice and their feedback, but you don't need no. I would say you don't want no yes me, yes women around you as
Right.
well too. You want somebody to say, okay, this not it, Shawniece, or yeah, you should
Hmm.
put this out, or because they know you've been around you, and they can like they want to see the best for you and everything as well. Because they publish and stuff, editing stuff, they ain't gonna want they name tied to that. If they good at what they do, they name tied to that as long as with your writing. So they you want to trust their opinion too. I would say, would that be a correct assumption?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
anybody that you're working with, you want to be able to trust their opinion, and you don't want them to be a yes man, because you want someone to say, especially because you're dealing with someone who supposedly has more experience than
Mhm.
you in this. That's why you went to them.
Right.
So with that experience, they should be able to say, hey, I don't think that's going to work.
Mhm.
I think this will work instead.
Okay.
Or maybe they're taking from past experience, like, hey, when I tried that, this is what happened.
Yeah.
So maybe you try that instead. You got to
Yeah.
be able to take all this stuff in, but also at the same time, I want to remind people that while you're taking everything in, your voice still matters the most. These people that are talking to you, they're giving you feedback that's going to help you be better, but your opinion matters most, because this is your work. This
Right.
is your baby. When it goes out, you want to be able to say, I am totally happy
Yeah.
with everything that's on every page, from the cover to the in between to the back.
I appreciate you for saying that. Definitely, I believe that. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Now, with I think came out with it with Flames in 2023, right?
Mhm.
So, how has the book been doing since its release?
It's been doing good. I
Mm,
still get sales while posting through like social media to still keep advertising. I
mm.
do book events. I do like author events, stuff like that. Sometimes I go to places like Virginia and do author events down there. So just going to places and showcasing my baby.
So, when people actually do the book tours and like doing the marketing for the books and so forth, how long does it take in between time for this book to go on to the next book, or is it not really a timeline for that?
Well, I'm not going to say there's a timeline for me, because I'm
Okay.
not under any specific publishing company right now. So
Okay.
there's nobody like, hey, we need you to pop out a book in like six
Okay.
months. So,
Okay.
and like, I don't get me wrong, I love this path, this new path of being
Mm,
an author, but I also love the medical field. So I
okay.
guess maybe that's why I don't feel like it's such a rush for me to be like,
Okay.
and I'm not going to say I haven't been doing anything, because even though I've had since 2023, I've made 3 other manuscripts. They're just not published yet.
Mm,
So I'm not going to say I've been sitting on my thumbs twiddling, not writing.
mm,
This poetry book that I'm about to put out was one of the manuscripts that I had written, because right when I got done with Flames, I
mm.
literally wrote 2 other 10-chapter manuscripts, and then I started working on the poetry.
Okay. Oh,
So, it's
yeah.
just a matter of me taking those books, the manuscripts I wrote, and then
Mm,
going through the whole process with them of the editing, the book cover, and same thing I just did with the second poetry book.
okay. And which I want to get to that too as well. I was just thinking like with the books, like they get they want to make sure you get the max exposure as possible. So
Mm.
I don't know if the book game is different from the making music and movies and stuff like that or whatever. I was thinking like it was different or whatever. So like, because when you do write a book, it is a good process you got to put into it and everything, like you just explained. So that's why I was thinking like, okay, you take a little time, maybe 2, 3 years before you come out with another book or something like that. And marketing it and getting it out there and other people still haven't heard it or read it yet and everything like that. So do you have an audio version of it or just paperback?
Don't have an audio version yet, but I'm working on getting one, because
Okay.
people are asking. So you want to
Yeah.
give people what they're asking
Right.
for. So
Okay.
I do not I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say audio. I meant to say like Kindle version. That's the one most people are asking for, is the like that,
Okay.
PDF type where you could download it and read it on your phone or your tablet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do they still make Kindles?
I mean, I
I'm.
don't know
I'm.
if they make Kindles, but I know that they make read.
Oh,
Like I know people still
yeah.
like basically a
Yeah.
lot of people do read on their phones or on like little tablet type things. So I know they're
Mm.
still making stuff for people to read on.
Okay. I'm not. I'm just asking because I haven't heard the word Kindle in a while. That's what
I know, you know, but people will
yeah.
know what I'm talking about when I say like devices like that, you
Yeah.
know. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
nowadays everybody's doing everything on their cell phone, so
Yeah. Yeah. And everything. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that what I want to know. Like, because if you do like, I was thinking like the audio version. Because what I read on a couple of your reviews, somebody said they felt like it was in a movie. They was in a movie.
hmm
So
yeah,
maybe the audio version could be like that. I mean, like
right.
that probably
Cinematic.
yeah. It probably there's another one I read too said cinematic. Maybe that costs more money to do that. I was gonna say maybe you can get some actors and stuff like that to portray the different voices and play it out in the audio version. Have you thought about that?
I haven't. The one thing I've been thinking about lately is
Mm.
I've been doing like little AI clips. I'm liking
Okay. Okay.
the little AI stuff. I'm liking that I
Right.
can do these things on my own. Like the one thing, if you know me in real life, I like to be able to do a lot of things on my own. Like, don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
I know a wise person knows when to seek counsel. I know when I'm out my depths and I need to seek
Right.
somebody who's there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like I try to learn how to do things on my own because I don't want to always have to go to other people when I want stuff done. I want to be able to have the knowledge to do it myself, you know?
Mm. Oh
And
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, you have to really pay attention to who you work with because some people say they're doing something and they taking your
Yeah.
money and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like this is the same way we say like music is a game, you
Yeah.
know? You really
Mhm.
gotta know who you're messing with sometimes
Right.
because
Right.
they'll take you for everything you got. Like
Hmm.
this is like with books too. You gotta be leery of people who say they're editors, publishers, writers, and everything else because you never know when somebody's taking you for your
Hmm.
money. And always
Yeah.
fact check, please. I know this is might be a little off topic, but always fact check people. Don't just go off what they say. If somebody says it's going to cost you this much for editing, go look that up. Google is
Mm.
free.
Yeah.
Google's free. Go look it up. You don't
Yeah.
have to be a genius at everything when they're talking to you.
Yeah.
Go look it up.
Mhm.
Chat GBT, y'all love Chat GBT. When
Yeah.
you do contracts, run your contract through Chat GBT. Tell
Yeah.
Chat GBT what it's supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be gaining, who's supposed to be having
Mhm.
what, and Chat GBT will tell you if it's a dud or if you should put your name on a dotted line.
Yeah, okay, cool. Most definitely. I always say this too. Yeah, you want to definitely now you not might not be an expert at everything, but you want to at least like know a little bit about something that you doing and getting yourself into. So
Yep.
you might want to know a little bit about editing, a little bit about publishing and so forth. You might not do it fully or as good as the person who actually do that job, but at least you'll know enough where you won't get screwed, like you saying and
Right.
everything. You know what it costs and what it takes, and you won't. And because yeah, folks can definitely lie and say a certain way, and then you not knowing how it go, and then they
Mhm.
So there you go. You got they don't took your money, and your books ain't even out there. You know what I'm saying? They ain't
Right.
get published and stuff like that. So yeah,
Or
definitely.
somebody steal your work.
Oh
We
yeah,
see a
yeah.
lot of
Okay,
that today, people stealing other people's work. So
okay,
that's why I'm saying really do your due diligence when you
yeah,
choose to work with people,
mm,
especially if you don't know them or you don't know somebody that they've worked with or you don't know their prior work.
yeah. Okay.
Please do your due diligence because today there are a lot of people finding different ways to scam people. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, case in point, going back to the Matrix thing, I can't remember the woman's name, but she was a black woman. The Matrix is based off a black story and everything. But I think she was pitching it to, I don't know
mhm,
who picked it up and so forth. You heard the story. Yeah, she was pitching it to people and they didn't ever call her back on it. But the thing is, they came out with the movie anyway. So I don't know if she should have like protected her IP some kind of way, maybe copyrighted it or trademarked it in some way. She probably didn't do that. But that's what happened. But
I'm going to throw a tip in there. One thing you can do
mm,
is take whatever it is you're going to show to somebody and
mm,
certified mail it to yourself. Never open it.
okay,
That's also proof.
okay,
Emails, always keep things like emails and stuff like that. No matter how good a relationship is, you never know how something can
yeah,
end.
uh-huh,
And it's always your word versus someone else's. And if it comes down to court,
yeah,
you always want to be able to have proof because the
okay,
judge is not going to care what you're going to say. They always going to care about what you could prove,
mm,
what's in front of their face. So, every step along the way, make sure you're always covering yourself. No
mhm,
matter how much somebody smiles in your face and says, "Hey, I got your back," you know, this is business.
Right.
I don't even care if you're going into it with a friend.
Right.
This is business, and know how to separate, know how to be on your P's and Q's about business.
Mm.
And when it comes to contracts, please pay attention to your contracts, because once you sign something that is a legal binding document, it's not as easy to just say, I don't want to do nothing and walk
Yeah.
away.
Most
So
definitely.
please make sure before you sign on a dotted line that it is everything that you want it to be.
Right. Okay. Now, the one what you were saying with the letter, that I heard about that before. They call that the poor man's copyright, because they do that.
Mhm.
They do that with music too, and so forth and everything like that. So, but I was reading now. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm getting into the game of entertainment and so forth. But I was reading that they're like that's not all the way true or whatever. Could you speak more on that?
About the mail in the
Yeah.
So I don't know how much weight it holds, because we see they're
Mm.
always changing laws to be able to find ways for people to steal from other people or certain groups of people at times, so we're always,
Yeah.
things are always changing. But what I'm saying is have multiple levels of proof. That's why I said mail it to yourself, keep emails and stuff like that. Like, if you're going to say, if you know that you're going to pitch your book to them, put it in an email. Hey, ain't I still coming on this day to pitch my book to you this time? Da-da-da. I'm just making sure that I'm confirming the event or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Because now you know, like, hey, she said she was meeting them for,
Yeah.
just keep foot tracks.
I,
That's all I could say.
I get what you're saying. You have a digital and paper footprint pretty
Right.
much. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I got you. Okay.
I mean, the more proof, the merrier, right? Like,
Yeah, I feel you on that. Now, okay. Now, I back to Flames with the AI, because we in this AI world now, and it's a
yeah,
lot of mixed opinions and stuff like that about how AI is. I definitely use it, and definitely been, a great tool for the use and make workflow and productivity go a whole lot more better. But so with you thinking about the AI for Flame, like what is your thoughts on doing it? Now, not just using AI as a whole, but what are you using? Like, what are you thinking of in using the AI to bring Flame to life, and so to speak? Because I have heard some publications where they starting to make like music videos with AI, doing short films with AI and stuff like that. So, are you planning on doing some things like that?
yeah, that's exactly what I'm planning on doing. I want to
Okay.
give like short little snippets
Okay.
of flames and, use that for advertisement, stuff like that. Give people a visual look
Okay.
at the book. Cause,
Yeah.
we live in the day and age where people need to see some visuals before
Right.
they really get stimulated,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
just to give some visuals used for advertisement. And then when it's all done, you could take all those pieces and create a bigger motion picture with it.
Mm.
And even though AI is good, it
Mhm.
is limited to all
Right.
the things that it can do. And sometimes you got to walk through different platforms to get one
That's the
thing
one thing.
done, or,
Mhm.
you're paying for this subscription, but now you got to go over here to use that. And you
Mhm.
don't have a subscription for that.
It
So you
adds
got to
up.
what you got to do is try to figure out how you can use all these AIs in free mode to your benefit. And if you find that one that is like better than all the rest and gives you the most optimal results for what you're looking for, then maybe pay for that one. Because like
Okay.
for me, I can go to ChatGPT for dialogue and
Okay.
maybe to help me come up with a prompt
Yeah.
for describing my character. Then I can
Mhm.
take that description of my character, plug that into Sora. Then
Mhm.
Sora makes me the character, and I can tweak it to however I'm visioning the character in my mind to fit what I'm seeing on the screen,
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you could do that.
Yeah.
And then I can go from like Sora to another website that allows me to consistently use that character over and over without it changing your character. Cause that's the number
Yeah.
one thing you got to worry about with
Yeah.
AI
Right.
is that when you try to reuse a character or create that character in a different scene, it then changes the features of your character.
Right.
So I'm not going to say it's easy, especially for someone like me, because I'm not going to say that I am a tech savvy person or an
Mhm.
AI. I'm a 90s baby, like I'm not like these. I know some stuff, but it's like I still
Right.
got a lot to learn.
Right. I understand. Yeah, everything you're saying, I definitely understand because I use Canva. Canva got its AI features. I use
I love Canva
ChatGPT.
too.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a creator's dream, right? Pretty much, and everything. Yeah, we love that. Yeah, but yeah, I use that and like some things I'll tell ChatGPT to write the prompt and then put it in Canva. And then, and everything. And sometimes ChatGPT they don't got a whole lot better with their images and stuff like that. So, but sometimes and camera them or whatever to get the right stuff that you wanted to be. I seen What's Good and Daystorm. I don't know if you heard Daystorm Power, those influencers and so forth. They did some kind of video or movie of reimagining something. I forgot what it was they reimagined, but they used AI, and then at the end of it, they told you what they used to create that or whatever and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But yeah, they had a stack too. You know, they did this to do that, and did this to do that. Yeah, because I know it can kind of get more pricey getting actors to do the voiceovers and all that stuff like that and everything like that. So that's one thing. Okay, but yeah, definitely I did hear that with the review. Somebody saying it was cinematic, it felt like they was in a movie
Hmm.
and everything. That they didn't want to cut hard to put in or put it down. So definitely getting raving reviews. You want to give to expound more on flames. You know, basically fan the flame more. You know what I'm saying? In a
Yeah,
sense,
yeah.
so yeah, okay, cool. So now I want to talk about the okay, before we go to anything else, is there anything else that we haven't covered on flame that you would like to discuss?
So we talked about the process. We
Hmm.
talked about what made me come up with it. We talked about the backstory behind it.
Okay.
Again, y'all just take your time with the process. Make sure you're picking the right people in the right team.
Hmm.
And even when it's all said and done, if you need to revamp your team, don't be afraid to do so. You never know when someone was just with you for that moment in that process in this project.
Okay.
But we covered all that, and yeah, I think we're good to go on.
Okay. All right. Cool. I was just making sure. I want to make sure I know that was the main course of everything. But all right. So as you stated, you are going into another book in 2026, and it's a poetry book. So tell us about it. Do you have a name for it yet?
Yep.
Go ahead.
The name of the book is called Unbreakable Thoughts of a Stranger.
Okay.
And what made me come up with this is my childhood, what I went through as a child, what I went through as a young adult, where I'm at now, and just life coming into full circle. I feel like as people, we always feel like we're going through stuff all by ourselves, like as if we're the only one going through something, and we don't realize that there's 10,000 people out there going through the same situation as us or the same circumstances as us.
Hmm.
We're so afraid to be vulnerable with people that we don't even realize that many of us are struggling with the same things, on the inside. We're just not talking about it. So my hopes with this book was not only just to share my life and life through my perspective and my lens through my poetry and short stories, but to allow people to see, like, hey, if she went through that and she's still fine, or you know what, hey, I thought I was the only one going through that, or I thought I was the only one that went through that. So now you can see, like, hey, we're not so disconnected as the world makes us seem that we are.
Yeah. Okay. Now, and I definitely understand what you're going into poetic form. So would you like kind of like expound on that a little bit about? So you're gonna be putting that in poetic form about your experience, your life or childhood growing up and so forth. Can you talk about that a little bit so people can understand what they may be reading once that book comes out before and everything, so they can build up their anticipation when it comes out as well.
So it's going to be poems. Some of them are poems, and then other ones are kind of like short story form.
Hmm.
So the way the book is set up, which I didn't intentionally do, but it came out that way, it was like poems would flow out of me.
Hmm.
And then after those poems would flow, I would go back to that point in my life where those poems just came from.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like you kind of get that story.
Yeah.
And when you're reading the story, you're like, wow, that kind of matches up with the poems I just got.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why it flowed that way. It just came out that way. That's once the book was done and I went back myself, I was like, wow, I'm realizing that there's poems. And then after those poems, I'm gaining that short story. It's like, oh, okay, you see where those poems came from. That moment in her life that
Mhm.
drew those poems out of her.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, with that stated as well, I'm saying can you tell a little bit about your childhood, like some of the things you went through, so people can get a more of a context of what they're gonna be reading about. Is what I'm saying. Well, what the poem's gonna be about.
Yep.
If that's
So I'm growing up,
okay.
number
Uh,
one
i-
thing.
i- if you don't mind telling, I don't hopefully you're okay with that. I don't, that's
You know what?
okay.
They about to read it in the book, right?
Oh, okay, okay, all right, okay.
So growing up, a lot of these poems, what they're stemming from is number one, like I grew up in a household where I didn't have my dad. So
Okay.
number one, I already felt like I was already lacking something, or like I was like not enough or missing something because I didn't have that. Then
Mhm.
my mom she got with my stepdad and they did this thing where they were on and off and on. So as an eldest child, where does that leave you? That leaves you filling in an adult role. Now you're over here carrying burdens that ain't yours, taking care of kids that ain't yours, doing things that you shouldn't be doing just yet because you should just be being a kid. Then my parents, for lack of a better word, they thought they was Nino Brown in them. So we dealt with that. We dealt with that type of lifestyle at an early age. Cops kicking down your doors, getting kicked out your house, having nowhere to go, being in DCYF, like it dealt with a lot all at once, just not feeling safe, secure, no foundation. So it's like a lot of that. And then to go through all that and still be able to say, wow, you know what? I'm here. I've got a good foundation. I'm never, once I became an adult in my experience and what I went through as a kid, like I have 2 children. My children do not know what it's like to be me. They don't know what it's like at all to even compared to me. They got a cushiony life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not rich, right? We regular people, but compared to me, they never experienced what I experienced growing up. So you get to see all that. You get to see all that, all those forces, all those different things.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes when we raised in a certain environment and upbringing, they usually say we become a statistic to repeat that again. So basically, you saying you definitely was able to rise out of that, become stronger, more resilient, and definitely not be the statistic and have a better life for your kids and so forth, right?
Right. And I just want to touch on that and say, like, no matter where you come from, don't let people tell you what you're going to be. I don't care what no statistics say. Compared to what those statistics say, right? I should be on a corner somewhere. I should be drugged up somewhere. I should not be a good mother. I should not be where I'm at if I listen to their statistics about what my circumstances should have brought me. So you are the maker of your own life. You are the author of your own destiny. It doesn't matter where you came from. Doesn't matter where you come from. You are able to change your life, especially when you become older and your foundation is yours. When you're a child, there's not much you can control. You're literally living off the choices of your parent or the parent you may have. But once you become old enough, your foundation is yours. You could take that and mold it into anything, no matter where you came from.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate it. I like that. And I like how Pat said when you go into your statements and so forth, you give a cautionary tale, you give a like, okay, don't with the books and you were talking about don't make sure you know who you getting as your publisher and editor, don't get screwed over and stuff like that. I like how you kind of giving your takeaways on each point we're doing and everything. That's cool that you're doing that. So appreciate you sharing it as well. And for this poetry book, so is you writing it in like a port? Is you through writing it or you still writing currently?
I'm actually done writing it. So I'm done writing it. I've done the cover for it. I have the ISBN number. I'm waiting on my copyrights to come back. And after that, give it one more go over. And I am done writing it. I'm trying to do this all by myself because the first time I did it with a team, and even though I did it, please y'all always pay attention to the steps and everything and learn. Please learn. That's what I did. The first time we're going through all the steps, we're going through everything in the business of everything. Like I wanted to know what we was doing, how we was doing it, what website you're going to, what people you're using. So now this time around, I wanted to do it myself. I want to publish my own book. I could have done my own book cover because Canva will let you do book covers. I could have done it, but the guy who worked on Flames with me, he wanted to be a part of my second project. And I thought, why not? Why not give somebody else more exposure, put their name out? If you can help someone, why not? So I let him do my book cover, even though I could have did that. I'm doing formatting the manuscript myself. It's just about done. The only problem I'm having, and if there's any authors out there, let me know if y'all have this problem, but the section breaks so I can get these page numbers, not being my best friend. So I don't want to reach out and have somebody kind of just do that part of the manuscript. But, if I get to this last week of the month and I still haven't mastered it, then I got to reach out to somebody wiser than me and have them do it.
Right. I feel you. Okay. So with the poem book, is it like a collection of poems, just not really a rhyme or reason, but just like a timestamp or period in your life or whatever thought that you have, or is it in the story format? 'Cause I think you said something is in the story format with the poem. Am I correct on that?
So it's going to be broken down into sections.
Okay.
So again, this is why it's also good to have Chat GBT. And no, it's not good to have Chat GBT write for you because it takes away your authentic voice.
Okay.
Right. But
Yeah,
you can use it
need
to
to
help
talk
you
about that.
improve things. You can use it to help you to arrange things. So when I had the book, I knew I wanted to do something with it because there was patterns in it. Like one section would be about love, one was about grief, one was about childhood, you know? So when I brought it through ChatGPT, it was like section it off. So like section 1 would be like love and grief, you know? Section 2 would be like family and something, you know? So it kind of flows like that, like you get your section.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so basically like a collection, but based on a particular thought or subject.
Or like those moments we go through in life.
Yeah.
When we talk about love, right? I might be talking about love from your spouse or love from your mother, you know, love from your dad.
Okay.
I might be, even though you're touching, those might be 2 separate eras, but the theme is love.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that particular section would be love. So all the poem would be related to that. And whatever the next section is, it's gonna be, related to that. Okay. All right. So cool. Cause I thought you were saying it earlier that it was more like a story. I'm like, how you make a poem that do a story? I said that was interesting.
It's like because you can do like poetry can also be short story form.
Okay.
I don't know if it's different than a poem because it is more like a story, but it's still poetry. So it's called like short form poetry.
Okay.
Because it's not like regular poetry. It is more like in depth and kind of lengthy, but still short form poetry.
Like a hip hop artist will do a storytelling in that sense, whereas is it rhyming or is your book rhyming or not rhyming?
No, I mean, some of the poems do rhyme because I feel like poetry and music kind of go hand in hand. Like sometimes you could write a poem and actually rap that poem. So some of it it's not intentional, but when you're flowing with it, some of it does sound like, oh, wow, that could be a rhyme, but it's poetry. Just like I've read poetry at times where I'm like, wow, that could have been a song or that, like it's the way it flows or the way your mind reads it. Because the way I wrote it and flowed in your mind, you might not even really flow like that when you're reading it. So it's also based on the way your mind perceives it.
So it still leaves interpret like I said, it's art. So it leaves person to their own interpretation of what they read in a sense. Like a person painting or something. Like when they say look at painting, everybody 10 people can look at a painting and then 10, but they got 10 different responses to it or reactions to it or whatever. It's like that is what you're saying?
I feel like all poetry is like that when you think about it, because you could read the same poem as me and we both get 2 separate messages out of it. Or there might be something in it that stuck with both of us, but it was something different.
Okay.
So I feel like, yes, poetry is art. I can read the same poem as you and we get 2 different perspectives from it. So, and then there's the actual meaning behind it, like what the actual poet intended or the actual author intended. So even though there's an actual message the author intended, you might pick up on something different when you read it, or it might hit something in you differently or bring up something in you differently.
Yeah. All right. And then, I get you. And you were saying something about don't let ChatGPT write your stuff, use it to help you as a tool and so forth. Can you speak to that? Cause you have, I write songs and stuff like that. And I was just curious to see how it will pop out. And I told it to write me, I gave it a topic and told it to write me a lyric, a song and so forth. I read it like now, like who would it wasn't nothing I would even do. So so I can imagine how it would do a poem or how it would do a story in a sense and so forth. So can you speak to that?
Yes. So once again, I'm gonna start off by saying, don't let ChatGPT write for you because it's good at editing and making things sound better or helping you use different phrases or words to reword something, but it's not your authentic voice. It's not you, and it cannot sound like you. So even if you put your work in there, like I said, I put my work in there for edits, line breaks, stuff like that. But when I put my stuff in, I tell ChatGPT, do not change my wordings. Do not make no changes to my words. We are only here to work on grammar. And sometimes you have to talk to it like you're talking to a child because when you put your work in, it will change. Like if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, you'll start reading the lines and you're like, that's not my poem. I didn't write that. So then you got to go back in and be like, this, this is not the poem I wrote. I need you to just only edit, leave my poem exactly as it is, recopy and paste the poem, and then it will just bring it back to you exactly as yours, nothing taken out. So again, you do have to be careful with ChatGPT because it will reword things. It will make it over it and it won't sound like you. So I know today we got a lot of people saying, oh, well, I wrote my whole book through ChatGPT. I just told ChatGPT to do this and ChatGPT wrote the whole book, but that steals away from your authentic voice. Right. And a computer is not human like you.
I'm about to
like
say that too. Yeah.
When you lost your mother, right? The computer doesn't know how you really felt like that. Only another human knows how you felt, you know? When that guy that you thought you was going to be with forever, he cheated on you with your best friend, baby, ChatGPT don't know the fire you felt when you was ready to burn that house down like waiting to exhale. Right. But you can articulate that to another woman and she's going to be like, girl, I was 2 seconds from running that man over.
Right. Right. Yeah, it definitely it doesn't capture the emotions and the personality.
It don't. And I feel like it steals from you. It steals the fact that, right, when somebody reads your book and you know you made them feel like that, the fact that ChatGPT wrote that and not you, like that steals from what you could have done.
And it don't feel genuine to you. Like I couldn't see myself putting it out like that. Yeah, I understand what you're saying on that. So what do you say to the people like that writers, people who make music and all the stuff like that as well, who write books and so forth, to think that they like that if you're using like ChatGPT, you got some that don't probably like shy away from it completely. What do you say to those people where they think, where everything should be the work of me, not the work of the computer? What do you think? What would you say to that?
I 100% agree. Like I said, I only use ChatGPT as an editor, and I only used it as an editor even after I ran my paper through Grammarly. Like I did the whole Grammarly thing because Grammarly is not like AI; it's not going to change nothing. It's literally just your grammar, your misspelling, stuff like that. So once I ran it through that, then I ran it through ChatGPT as like a second run through for any grammars, any misspelling, any improper placement of words, stuff like that. So using it for grammar stuff. And for editing, punctuation, maybe manuscript formatting, yes. Yeah. But to write your stuff, no. It takes away from you authentically. And then how can you say you wrote something? Like, you came up with the concept, but like you weren't even able to write 16 bars.
Yeah.
You weren't able to write 3 paragraphs, So it's like, don't steal from yourself. Yeah. And then by you letting a machine do it for you, that creates laziness. You're not allowing your imagination to grow. You're not allowing your talents to grow. You're not pushing yourself.
Yeah, you're right.
So there's a fine line with this AI stuff that I do believe. Okay. And just like now we're seeing how artists are coming out talking about they don't like the fact that AI is stealing their thunder because this AI thing is going on tours and Kalani can't get a tour. You get what I'm saying? So, and I understand that because she's actually writing her songs. It's not an AI. She's putting money into it. It's blood, sweat, and tears for her. And then you go to a machine and the machine pops out a #1 hit. So I do understand how this can be a good thing and a bad thing,
Yeah, we in a weird time where we trying to really navigate. I feel like it's here, so we got to definitely like get in front of it the best way we can. But yeah, you do have those concerns of it's taking, away from creativity, and also, for as like you heard with Suno, like I have talked with a couple artists I've talked with one artist that uses Suno. And he just said similar like you said. He just uses it as a tool. Like he already been making music way before this AI came out and stuff like that. He said it just helped him to be productive more quicker and everything, like help his productivity a lot better. So I can see it in those ways, but then, there's other ways and things with Suno, they say they have, stolen people's music, and everything. That's another thing too. So that's another gripe, so I don't, it's kind of like, I can see, I don't know, is that going on in the author world or the book world and everything, like where AI is taking people's work and everything like that?
I can't honestly speak to that because there's so many people using AI that it probably could have happened and I just didn't hear about it. Doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It just means I didn't hear about it,
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm not going to act like that was not a concern for me too. Okay. Because if AI can generate me a book, is this book coming from someone else? Yeah. So even when I put my poetry book through, that thought still ran through my mind, like, can somebody else get this book? Can it regenerate my poem and then say it's regenerating it for someone else's idea, but it's really my work? Like, I don't know how AI collects the stuff we actually write and then redistributes it, or do they just say, hey, we're not going to do nothing with it because that's what she wrote? Like, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I truly don't know how that works.
Yeah.
So who knows if AI is stealing stuff and giving it to somebody? I don't know, but you know what? That's why you keep your copyrights. Because
Yeah.
if somebody happens to steal your stuff, including AI, right?
Gotta make sure
You might
everything
be able to get a check. You know, you gotta get your copyright. Anything that you do, copyrights, make sure legally it's binded to you. Even a song, you know how they have like ASCAP or something like that.
Yeah, it's a
Even
lot
when
of
you
stuff.
do songs, you put your name next to the song, you put the lyrics in of the song and all that, and it's tied to you. So if anybody reuses it, it originally goes back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I believe that's something that people need to hear. I just never heard the parallels with people who write books and poems and stuff like that. I was just wondering if anybody's had those type of gripes or what type of gripes that they have with AI and everything. Okay. Now, so when is this book in 2026 projected to come out?
So I want to March is what I'm aiming for.
Okay.
March is what I'm aiming for. I want to take 2 months to do the promo. And
Okay.
I mean, I've already kind of been, sneaking it out here and there,
Okay.
but I really want to, in January, really just start ramping it up, get everybody happy, amped.
Okay. All right, cool. And definitely, I mean, it sounds interesting. I like that. I haven't quite seen it like in sections like that or whatever. I guess, like I said, I have wrote poems in the past. I haven't did it in a while, and then that was my beginnings, writing poems and so forth. I might need to get back into it a little bit, but I mean, I do songs, so that's in the sense already there, and everything like that. It's a different, but anyway, but yeah, so but definitely looking forward to seeing, how that comes out and everything like that as well. So, but now you mentioned, I will, we can let you go after in a bit. Now you were talking about you like what you do for CNA. Let's talk about that a little bit, and then, so tell us, about that. How did that came to be, and what got you into becoming a CNA and so forth.
Well, what got me into being a CNA is when I got out of high school, I wasn't one of those kids that's like, yeah, I want to go to college. I know exactly what I want to be like. I was one of those adults where I was like, I'm not really sure what my path is. And growing up, I've always been taking care of people, whether it was my siblings, whether it's my mom. When I look back on it, I'm like, I really been taking care of people. When I became 18, I was like, I don't want just some regular job where the means is not going to be enough. I need something. And a lot of people around me was doing the CNA thing. So I took the classes. In less than a few months. I got my license. And ever since 2010, I've been a CNA. I mean, I love what I do. I can do it with my eyes closed. I can deal with people in all facets. I'm not going to say it's easy because believe me, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
You really got to love your job to want to do this and be able to be okay with people and realize we going to like them sometimes and sometimes we not going to like them.
You need to tell my son that because there's son. he in college now, and I don't really see him being a nurse, but it's just something he just said out the blue. It wasn't then down the line. Most time people want to be a nurse or a doctor. You usually hear them early on say that.
Right.
He played the game a lot. He got a real knack for playing games, like how he approaches it and stuff like that. But he ain't going into anything related to that. But first thing was nursing. But we've been telling him, his mom been telling them, his grandparents and everything. They be like, man, it's a lot into nursing and so forth. I might have to tell him to listen to this part right here. So
it's
somebody.
Not easy. It's not. But I mean, does he seem like he's enjoying it? Does he seem like he's passionate about it?
But the first year was like he only like taking elective classes right now. He's not really into the nursing field. So the science and stuff like that, he wasn't really doing too good in it at first or whatever. So he kind of switched from it now, which is a good segue to what you got on here now. Now he's talking about psychology. He still got he still got nursing in the back of his head and wanting to do, but he switched his thinking to psychology. Only because of the reason is his friends say he's a good listener.
All right, come on, man, come on. We can't do that because if you want to switch, you got to be passionate about what you, not because your friend said.
Thank you, because that's what I've been telling him. I said, son, you got to be passionate. You got to really like what you're doing. 5, 10 years, and you're doing the job. You gotta know if this is what you want to do from that line, not because you just think you can do it. there's a lot of things that you can do, but should you do, and everything like that or
Right,
whatever,
right.
and stuff like that. So that's what I was trying to tell them. You want to be passionate about this first before because you can make good money in it, but if you don't like doing it, you end up quitting still.
And plus, please let him know, right, that once he gets that psychology degree, he's not even done. He can't even talk to people yet. He got to go back to school and get a doctorate's degree.
Yeah,
and I'm just speaking because I have a bachelor's degree in general psychology. Tell him the best he's about to do is be a social worker, and the social worker is making as much as a CNA.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Right.
So you about to go to 3 years of school to make as much as the CNA, where she took like an 8-month course.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like choose what you really want to do and be serious, because college costs money.
Right. And, I've been telling him this. Everything you've been saying, I've been telling him that. I'm glad it's confirmation, somebody who don't went through it already. because I've been telling him, man, and that's what the counselor told him too. They said for him to even be taken seriously, he's gonna probably need to get a master or a doctorate in it.
Yeah.
And so that's 6+ years of him going to school. And he like, oh well, I can do it, but son, you don't even like school.
And it costs money. Every year costs money.
That's why I told him.
I'm just speaking. Tell him I have a degree in general psychology and I'm not doing anything with it. I'm still my CNA.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, to be a social worker and to go through all that, I'm literally making more money as a CNA. So I do got the degree. I do owe the college debt, and I'm not doing anything with it. So tell him if he wants to learn from experience.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell him to skip right to this part. Yeah, I'm telling him to skip right to this part right here. Like, son, listen to this.
Yes. Tell him make sure that it's what he's want and that he wants to go for that doctrine. Because if he wants to own a practice or any of that other stuff, you have to be like doctrine level to be able to have a practice, and then to be under yourself and not be under somebody else. So it do take years of schooling to get to that.
Yeah. That's what he like. Yeah, he's like, I ain't worried about the how long it takes. And so I'm like, son, you know how you will with school. You don't really like school like that, and hard work is only gonna get harder and stuff like that. I said, man, what about a trade? Do something in there related to gaming, and everything. But I try to, we got that to the counselor. And what they were talking about, do half, so he can kind of figure out which one he want to do. I mean, he still got time. So, but I was telling him, the more you taking time to figure it out, it's still gonna make it longer for you because you ain't figured out, you ain't landed on something yet. But I was trying to go where it was half. The teacher gonna have it where it's half academics and half tech stuff or whatever, tech fields. But he didn't want to do that because he felt like it was gonna be bouncing him 2 different ways. So he just went with choosing therapy now. I mean, for that. So they having them taking psychology, the English and stuff first for the elective. Then, they'll have them taking psychology classes if that's what you want to do. But I'm still working with him, like trying to get in his head, let him know, man, look, figure out what's what. But, that's why I tell him, it's something, you really haven't thought about. You do something that you're passionate about and like doing. You can do that a lot longer than it is something you think you can do, But,
and I think, like, he's young, right? Is he like out 18, of high school and stuff?
Yeah, 18. Yeah, he in college now.
The thing with that is, I feel like most of us, we feel this pressure to go to college and we don't even know who we are. Like me, the reason why I didn't go to college when I graduated high school is because I did not know who I wanted to be. And I don't come from no rich family that I can fart around for 2-3 years and then decide, oh no, I want to switch my major. And that's only because the child who's this young adult still don't know who they are. They don't see their path yet. And it's okay to be 18 and not know your clear path yet. You just became an adult. Everything in your life's about to switch. You know what I mean? I have a son who is 17. He's about to graduate this year. And he's going to go to a trade. He's not going to do college. You know what I'm saying? We talked about it. And I told him, like, you're going to go to college, and college really only applies if you got set dreams. You get what I'm saying? There's certain dreams that college applies for, and other dreams is going to be a hindrance more than anything else, So, and then I'm like, you're going to get into this debt before your life has even started. So do you really want this debt too? Because you have to ask yourself, like, I feel like we don't realize this college system also can kind of mess up our kid before our kid even gets started if we are not picking the right paths with them and helping them seek clarity on what they're about to do with their future.
Right.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I told him about that too. Yeah, it is going to be a lot of debt. So right now, he go to a JUCO right now. And I like, the grant paying for that. But as soon as you get, you get into a university, that grant ain't going to pay for all that. You're going to be out of pocket and all that stuff like that and everything. It get real high and stuff like that or whatever. And, especially in that field, then it's clinical trials and internships and stuff like that before you really even get into, that field, and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we working with them, like, and stuff like that. I even told them that too, where college might not be the thing. I know we going on a tangent. We two parents,
I know we
talking about
parents. This is what happens when you're a parent. But you know what? There's other parents out there right now, like, wow, my kid is going through the same thing. I'm trying to tell my kid the same thing.
Right. Yeah. So, but though I tell them, man, there's other things, like I said, just really like get on to what you passionate about, work with that, and go on there. But it's like when I tell him about game, he like it's like a ick to him. I'm like, but you spend so much dedication and time on the game than it is your work. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see why that's turning you off, and everything like that. But I don't know. But that was my same approach to it when I came to college too as well, because I was good at computers. I can draw pretty good, and I was like, okay, let me put those were never my dream or whatever. So I just put two and two together. I said, well, okay, graphic design. So and everything. That's what I went into. And going into it, it wasn't really something I was passionate about. I gave him this whole story, and everything like that. My dream was to play basketball, make music, or act. And those three things was my dream. It wasn't nothing in college, that had to do with maybe go to school for music, maybe something like that. But I wasn't thinking about that at the time. But yeah. So when I got into it, did all right. I didn't do too bad, but it just wasn't hearing them deadlines for the drawing and stuff like that. It wasn't something I was passionate about to do art. I like art, doing it on my own time, but you telling me I got to have this turned in by a certain time, I didn't like that. But so that's why I eventually got out of it. But that's what I was telling him. But he got time, but at the same time, he need to, land,
Right.
you know,
Because you
and
be
everything.
thinking you got time, and next thing you know, you 28.
Right.
So I mean, it be happening like that.
School, have a plan outside of what you want to do, and stuff like that. But I'm still working on, still talking to him, and everything. But my bad on that. Like I just got into a tangent when we was talking about that. But yeah. So but what made you go into psychology? With the CNA and everything. I know you said you're back at CNA, but what made you get that degree as well?
What made me want to do the psychology is just like your son. I'm not gonna say number one, I am a good listener, but I'm also like someone that people always come to me for advice. And people don't have a problem opening up to me. And even though I'm 30 something years old, like I've always been wiser than my years. And I feel like I'm good at being empathetic, stepping into other people's shoes, seeing it from two different perspectives. Like I feel like, all those things, I'm like, I could be a counselor for somebody. I felt passionate about being able to help people in a different way, because I already help people in another way as a CNA, but like I wanted to be able to help people in another way as well. So that's what drove me into psychology. But then when I, was getting through it and I realized like, all right, now I'm done. Now they telling me I got to do all this before I could even, they telling me best I got right now is going back to school and being a social worker. I'm like, I'm making more money right now.
Yeah, it's crazy like that, man. And then and go back to like, is sometimes the people who got these degrees, they can't really do anything with them and everything. They going back having regular jobs and stuff like that. So it's just really about, like you said, if you got to weigh out the cons, the pros and cons. Like most, jobs like the CNA and everything. Yeah, you go to college for that, but certain things you do, you don't really have to do. You really need college for it. So I think that is be the step where people think college is the next step, but it ain't always have to be that step. It just depends on the person, what it is, and what you want to do and so forth, man. Is college the tool to help you get there, or the vehicle to help you get there, and so forth. All right, now with that said, we getting to an end. With you being a CNA and being an author, is it something you planning to like to go? You say you love doing being a CNA, but do you plan to do still, stay doing CNA while you making books and so forth, or are you want to go into book writing full time?
I don't think I can say that I would put writing first until it can pay my bills better than my regular job.
Okay.
Then I could be like, let me rest on the regular stuff and hype it up on the author stuff. Right now I do both, and it's okay for me to do both as long as I'm carving that time out to get the projects that I need done. But CNA wise, yes, I do love it. But now I kind of want to branch off into like sterilization tech processing. So it's like you just sterilize the equipment in the
Mm.
hospital and stuff like that. So
Okay.
I've been a CNA for so long, and I kind of want to scoot into something a little different, expand my talent, shall I say.
Okay.
So that's kind of something that I've been already looking into, because going into 2026, I definitely want to expand somewhere else in the medical field. And
Okay.
sidebar note again, tell your son, try
Okay.
the CNA course. You're
Okay.
a nurse's assistant. You can kind of see it from a different perspective, and he can start
Okay.
making good money quickly,
Okay.
you know?
Okay.
So
Cool. All right. Like I said, I'm gonna have him. He might not listen to it, but I'm gonna tell him about it. I'm gonna tell him to
look, it's
switch it.
not me talking, it's someone else.
There you go. There you go. Because every time I be telling him something, somebody else say the same thing. I say, like, I'm glad you said it, because when I said it, he like I was just talking, like I'm hating on him or something. You know what I'm saying?
That's when
Okay.
kids listen when someone else says it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what. I guess he hear it differently than the parent. I guess I'm made to say that. This other person don't know nothing about me, and they saying it, so I can hear
Right.
it better from this person. I guess. Okay, I got you. But all right, cool. So I was finna say maybe you can make a store. You've been doing it. Well, you said since 2010.
2010.
You've been. I know you got some stores and everything like that or whatever. So that you can like manipulate in a different way and put out there and stuff like that. Maybe do you have any stores like that you think you can do?
Take my personal experience and then, like,
Uh,
not give names and stuff like that, but
yeah,
then make that into a story.
yeah,
Yeah, like the Chronicles of a CNA.
yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's like Grey's Anatomy. They still going on strong. And stuff like that or whatever. So, yeah. So I would say something like that maybe. I don't know. I'm just trying to give you more ideas of crank some more stuff out there and everything. But like I said, we getting out here. Like, what other things aside from the book coming out in 2026? And like, what other things are on the horizon for Shawniece?
Mostly just getting my book out there, getting some more education, and just staying the course and building my brand as a writer, really just building myself.
All right, and so they're building yourself. Yeah, I get you. Um, now, do you think about like making a business on some on not on the art stuff, but like for the author stuff the writing stuff that you do, being an author, but like on the side, like having your own publishing company or editing or stuff like that or whatever. You thought about doing anything like that?
Think one of the things I've been thinking about since I did this process of my second book myself is the publishing aspect. I don't necessarily want to be an editor, because believe me, I love writing. But when it comes to the
Mm.
editing, no, that's someone else needs to do that, because that is not my favorite part.
Right.
But the publishing, like, yeah, I would definitely do the publishing. So in the
Mm.
future, that is definitely something that I can see in my future, is me being a publisher,
Okay.
not just for myself, but for other people. And then also teaching other people the process so they can
Okay.
learn how to do it.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Like that sounds good. So with that said, like, out of everything that we talked about today, what would you say as like the biggest takeaway people can get from what we discussed today?
That through all of the circumstances, no matter what you go through, you could be anything you want to be. And you
Mm,
can even take those circumstances and draw inspiration from them, draw talents
yeah,
from them. You know,
mm,
don't
yeah,
let what you've gone through in the past stop your future, because your future is as bright as you make it.
yeah. Okay, like that. And what bit of advice or that you can give somebody who is new to the writing game and want to do a book, poems or have in that field, so to speak, they want to get out into it. What would your advice be to them starting out?
Don't be scared. Get out there and
Okay.
do it. And when you get out there and do it, do your due diligence. Make sure
Right.
that you're always well versed or versed enough in everything you're doing. Always get
Mm,
some prior knowledge to stuff. Don't go in blind. There's
yeah.
free information everywhere. Use it.
Yeah.
Don't just
Okay.
take people for face value. People can have a pretty smile with cruel intentions. So,
Yeah.
be on your P's and Q's. When
Yeah.
it comes to contracts, do not sign on the dotted line unless you are completely happy with being locked in with that. When it comes to your books, make sure you own your books, that you have the rights to your books, that when you're done writing it, nobody has say so or ownership over it but you. This is
Yeah.
a tricky game, and people will take things from you if you let them. So make sure
Yeah.
that ownership is always yours. Titleship is always yours. You're always getting the bang for your buck and what you're paying for. And
Hmm.
do not be afraid to speak up for yourself and advocate for the things you want. Because if people know they can walk all over you, that's what they'll do. But if they know that you a big dog and you don't play, they're going to come at you correct. So put your big girl panties on, your big boy boxes on, and use your mouth.
I appreciate you for sharing that. All right, Shawniece, let everybody know again where they can find you. You find your book and learn more about you, even maybe book you for a book tour or something like that, or speaking event and everything as well. So basically, just links out one more time.
So you can reach me at my regular website, which is www.shawniecewrites.com. You can get my book on Amazon as well. But like I said, Amazon won't offer you a complimentary gift, or the pricing is different than my website. You can reach me on Facebook, Shawniece Hall. And on my Facebook, you can also buy the book as well. You can reach me on Twitter at Shawniece Writes. You can also reach me on TikTok at Nisi101. And any of those places that you reach out to me, I will see your messages and reach back to you.
I'll check Shawniece out. And Shawniece, appreciate you for coming on the show, sharing your insight, your wisdom, and telling us about Flame. Sounds like they're taking a life of its own. Flames are fanning even more. You know what I'm saying? So definitely want to see that rise even more as you get your, and as well as when you get your book out, your second book out too as well. So many more books for you to come, and more success for you in your endeavors as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And hopefully there'll be another time in the future where we'll be doing this again.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like I said, that poetry book sounds interesting to me. So like, and you got something else out, you got a different ideal or something like that, Trey, I want to talk to you about this angle, just pitch it to me, and, we come back on and hash it out,
All right. You have a good day.
All right, appreciate it. And I've been your host, the Trea Da Fit Artist. This is Sculpt N Create. My guest, Shawniece. We out of here. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. If you're looking for fitness coaching to help you reach your goals, want to join our animated network for fitness, guidance, collaborations, networking, and community, or are interested in being a guest on the show, check out the links in the description. Stay creative, stay fit, and we'll holler at you next time.